Far Cry 2 is a action adventure shooter sequel to the original PC Far Cry. It's an adventure action game where we take the player to a really exotic, exciting place, just like the original Far Cry, but somewhere they've never been before. It's really important to keep the game fresh and exotic. And so rather than going to a tropical island where players have been dozens of times now, we decided to go to Central Africa, to the African savanna, the jungles of Africa, the deserts, all of these environments that are just as exotic as a tropical island, but somewhere you've never been, somewhere dangerous, a little bit scary, and very, very exciting and also beautiful. First of all, we didn't want the player to have to micromanage his health with health pickups, and we sure didn't want to give him an inventory. So we decided to just let the player, give him a little bit of regeneration so that he doesn't take any, too much damage too quickly. So we don't need to bother with like, oh, my health is at 82. Like that's a waste of time. And at the same time, we wanted to say when you get hit, when you're really getting beat, you're going to need to deal with yourself. You're going to need to perform first aid on yourself and fix yourself up. So we have over 60 different animations for the final game where the player will receive a wound, and in the middle of combat, you're going to have to get behind cover as quick as possible and use a dedicated key to perform first aid on yourself. Sometimes that means pulling a piece of burning shrapnel out of your arm. Sometimes it means, pulling some of your teeth out and getting them out of the way. Sometimes it means relocating a dislocated shoulder, broken arm. Damage is detected based on what causes the damage, and the wound is detected based on what causes the damage and applied to the right part of the body. So we're always keeping track of how you got wounded and giving the player a really visceral connection to his avatar with these healing animations. Of course, that doesn't mean you're invincible. Sometimes you still get beat, and sometimes you don't have time to heal. Sometimes you go behind cover and get taken out by someone before you perform first aid on yourself. In case that happens, well, if you don't have any friends, you're done. That's it. You better reload. But if you do have friends, if you have a buddy, they can be wandering around in the world doing their own thing, and they might see, oh my God, someone's over there attacking the fuel depot down there. Maybe it's probably my friend because I know he's a little bit crazy, so I'm going to go down there and back him up. Your buddy can show up in the middle of this blazing gun battle. You go down in battle, he can grab you, pick you up off the ground, drag you behind cover, give you a chance to heal, but now he's in play. He's in the combat zone, and he can be killed at any time. So you got to take care of these guys, make sure they stay alive. They're going to help make sure you stay alive. We're going to build a real strong relationship between, not just the player and his avatar in a physical sense, but also between the player and these other characters, these really autonomous AI buddies that we've created to populate the world and make it feel very realistic. So obviously we're doing a demo. We're just trying to show off some features in kind of a part of the world that we chose for demo purposes. Obviously the world has a full story. There's two factions that have sort of tried to take control of this failed African state that's collapsed into unrest. And they're not politically affiliated. They're just warlords fighting for whatever they can get their hands on. Real bad men. And you end up in the middle of this with a mission to assassinate an arms dealer who's been arming both sides of this conflict to try and deflate the situation. Of course, you get involved in this and end up sort of having to play both sides against the middle. You can work for one faction or work for the other. You can betray one of the factions. Maybe they'll betray you. There's no scripted, written, linear story for the game. The way the story proceeds is procedurally assembled based on the actions the player takes. Who you choose to work for is going to influence the outcome of what's going on in the world, and it's also going to make enemies and friends. And you work for one warlord for a long time. The other warlord might try and have you assassinated or take you out. You work for one warlord for a really long time. He might decide you're too much of a threat to his own position. Maybe he'll turn against you, so you never know who to trust. And obviously taking missions for these warlords, as well as for other individuals and people in the world. You can take missions for your buddies as well, give you direction in play. So it's not just like wander everywhere you want and do whatever you want. That's not what our game's about. Obviously there are missions, but there's also a lot of free-form play. You can explore that world. You can see what's beautiful about it. You can see what's dangerous about it. You can really enjoy the environment, as well as take dedicated missions that drive your play experience forward and allow you to drive the play experience forward in the way you want. Well, I mean, our goal is obviously to make sure that as many people as possible can play it on their PC, but we will have very high-end versions with really top-notch, cutting-edge graphical features that you've never seen before. One of the things that's going to be a challenge on any PC is managing the fact that, like I said in the demo, all of our trees, all of our grass are completely physically simulated as well as rendered all the way out as far as the eye can see in real time. So if I fire a rocket across the map and it goes 250, 400 meters and hits a tree, the branches are going to be blasted off of that tree. If there's enough fuel left in the rocket, that tree will catch fire and start to burn. And that's, that's 400 meters away. That's just a rocket fired straight into the air. If I take out my sniper rifle and fire at a branch on a tree that's at the limit of the range of that weapon, that branch will break off right where I hit it. So that's a very difficult feat. Another thing, obviously, that's great is fire. It's really, really costly to have all of these particles of fire and all of these particles of smoke. But in the end, like the way we're getting it to work and the tricks that we're using to bring that experience to the player, the ability to start a fire anywhere you want in that savanna grass and have it propagate according to the wind and the weather and everything that's going on in the world, is technically very, very challenging. But I mean, as you saw in the demo, I think the potential of that feature in terms of the technology and what it brings to the gameplay, the way it makes the game meaningful and engaging and exciting, is more than worth it. Well, we've announced a first quarter 08 release for the game, and that's our original plan, but as of today, we are PC exclusive. We're completely focused on helping Ubisoft reestablish as a top-tier PC developer that can compete with the best PC developers in the world. So that's our goal right now.